Coming up next, Delaware's two biggest stories, the prison uprising and the special election to decide control of the Senate. This is the Delaware Way. Welcome to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. A couple of weeks ago, Delaware got national publicity for all of the wrong reasons with the prison takeover in Smyrna, Delaware that took the life of a corrections officer. Here to talk about that is Geoff Klopp, who is the president of the Correctional Officers Association of Delaware. Sir, thank you so much for being here. I would imagine you come here after a horrible incident, and what you, I'm certain, is focusing on is the death of a fellow correctional officer.
Lieutenant Stephen Floyd was with the Department of Corrections for 16 years, and he was a great man. Someone who I had interactions with through our union almost every week, and but he was a great man and a great leader and a great correctional officer in the facility to all the other COs as well.
Before we get into what happened and what should be done and what the problems are or possibly are in the correction system, I do want to remind people of what the correction officers go through and the job that they have to do. I would imagine that it's constantly, and you can tell me better than I would know, walking a fine line between establishing a relationship and imposing the law.
That's a great way to put it, because it is, you know, we are part counselor, part social worker, part mailman, part cook, part law enforcement. You know, we deal with these people 24 hours a day. We have more interaction with them than anyone else in the facility. And yes, you treat them with respect if they treat you with respect, and it's very difficult. We have the most difficult job in the world. We're trying to manage human beings that no one else even wants to interact with, and we do a great job of it every day.
This wasn't the only one last year. There's been many prison uprisings that don't get the publicity that this one got. And how does it happen?
It happens slowly over time, you know, and for the last 6 years, I've been using my voice as loud as I can at General Assembly, and we've had support of some of the General Assembly members, and we appreciate that, but the previous governor, Governor Markell, did nothing to improve the systemic problems within the prisons.
Let's go through that, since you talk about systemic problems. And you believe the systemic problems led to this uprising?
Yes.
And so what are they?
Well, you know, first of all, the salary package is not enough.
How is the pay for your membership, how is the pay related to a prison uprising?
Because if you don't, first of all, we don't have enough staff, okay? Second of all, when you have staff and you have a turnover rate of 57% of your people leave in the first 3 years that you hire them, so now you have a lot of young staff, inexperienced staff, and you have some older staff. And then you have the previous governor who makes the conscious decision to pay the overtime because it's cheaper than to create any more full-time positions. I mean, how do you say you have 90 vacancies, 90 correctional officer vacancies in the CO series, yet you spend almost $23 million on overtime last year? Those numbers make no sense.
So then people are overworked, they're
Absolutely,
tired,
absolutely.
and they could become disgruntled because they're working too much.
Right, and you're tired and you're fatigued, and you're not going to do the job as well as you could if you're well rested and appreciated.
It seems to me the prisoners had some demands. They didn't feel like they were being treated well, but the correction officers seemed to be having some demands. What are some more of the systematic problems?
Well, you know, and again, it comes back to, you know, that we don't retain quality people due to the fact we're not paying enough money. But mental management is a tremendous problem. We don't receive enough training. You know, our immediate supervisors don't receive the training they need in order to do their job properly. And then their bosses get frustrated. It's a domino effect.
Have you been in this prison?
Absolutely.
You've been in this prison, so you know what the conditions are like?
Yeah.
So why the uprising? What were the problems?
I don't know what the inmates' problems are, and the inmates do have problems. The inmates have issues, rightfully so.
Did you see people being treated unfairly or poorly?
We are overcrowded, and the ACLU agreement that has been integrated into James T. Vaughn is the primary problem as to why this issue occurred. This ACLU agreement was integrated into a facility that is too old.
And why is that a problem? You would think a place is a place is a place.
Well, because what people are starting to realize is that inmates have mental health issues and substance abuse issues. And the ACLU wants to look at the mental health issues. But the things that they are asking us to do, as far as the amount of time they want us to give these inmates to have recreation and different things, the way these buildings are laid out, it's not safely feasible. And that's one of the reasons why we ended up where we are.
What you're talking about now, the fact that it's not safely feasible and the free time in the recreation area and the layout of the building, did that all contribute?
Absolutely.
How so?
Because the buildings that were set up to house certain offenders, we didn't have enough bed space to safely house the people that should have been in a much more secure environment than what they were housed in C building. The bottom line is if you want to try to do this ACLU agreement, which is extremely flawed and it needs to be addressed, and the correctional officers who know a lot of what's best for folks, we need to take that into consideration. But if we're going to do this ACLU agreement, we have to have different buildings. We have to have the right tools to do the job.
Okay, we're starting down the path of what has to be done, and I know there are several investigations. There's been fights over who's investigating it. I want to find out what your involvement is with that and what the correctional officers' involvement is with that when the Delaware Way continues, as we talk to Geoff Klopp, who is the president of the Correctional Officers Association, right after this.